It's National Poison Prevention Week, and with the kids at home from school, we want to make sure that everyone stays safe. Dr. Casey Lee is with Florida's Poison Control Center. She's joining us via FaceTime. Now, when we think of poison control, we think of protecting small kids, but you say that there's other things that we need to be keeping in mind too, right?
Yeah, so we do get a lot of our calls about young children. Probably about 40% of our calls come from about young children. But really, the idea that we have everyone to know is that poison control and poison prevention is for everyone. And a lot of these cases are also for adults as well.
Got it. So what are some of the other calls that you get coming in?
So we get a lot of different calls, and for kids, a lot of those are going to be accidentally getting into different things like medications, into chemicals around the house. But we also get calls on things like snake bites, scorpions, wasp stings, about therapeutic errors. So someone takes two doses of their own medication, someone misses a dose. Sometimes we get calls about pets and things that pets get into as well.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, when you're in Florida, there's a lot to think about as far as, the mother nature side of it with animals and critters and all that. But during this time, we're thinking a lot about disinfecting sprays, hand sanitizer, things like that. So what are some things that some parents should keep in mind?
Yeah, and I think a lot of those are just going to be more accessible to kids now because everyone's keeping them around the house and having those at hand. So the important things are just to make sure that they're kept secured away from kids. A lot of those are in bottles that might have fruity scents. They might have colors and nice coloring on their labels that would be very attractive to a kid. So it's important to use the same kind of removal from the immediate vicinity of a child that you'd use for any other chemical.
Definitely. So how high up would you suggest? Are we talking, counter level, or should it be up in a cupboard or a cabinet?
Yeah, ideally, if you've got a locked cupboard, that's probably the safest place to keep it. You think kids can't climb up on counters, and you think you've got it high enough, but a lot of the times kids just surprise us with what they can do. So if you got a locked cabinet, the best place to put that is a locked cabinet.
Definitely. So now we know that kids, they can get into just about anything, and they can do it pretty quietly and quickly. What are some signs we should look for, just to see if our kid has ingested something they're not supposed to?
So a lot of the times, it really depends on what exactly they got into. For something like hand sanitizer, I think a lot of kids are going to pretty immediately realize it doesn't really taste that great to them. So those kids might come up and they might act like something nasty got in their mouth. They might be spitting. For some other medications, we might not know unless you catch the kid with a bottle or with a pill. Sometimes you don't exactly know what to be looking out for. It just depends on what they get into.
Got it.
Any odd behavior? Any odd behavior would definitely be something that you could potentially think about them maybe having gotten into something. But I would recommend that if you have any questions or any suspicion that they might have gotten into something, just go ahead and call us at the Poison Control line.
Awesome. Okay, so now have you been getting an increased number of calls since, this coronavirus has kind of taken over?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we've definitely seen a peak and a spike in the calls that we're getting related to disinfecting agents and hand sanitizers.
And so when it comes to that, are kids ingesting it? And is that, like the Clorox wipes and things like that that probably don't taste really good, like you were saying?
Yeah, a lot of the times it's going to be just an accidental, kid picks it up, takes a sip out of it. And most of the time that's not a problem. But really, when it comes to chemicals, when it comes to toxins, it comes down to how much do they get into. And that's where the poison control line could certainly help if a parent realizes that their child got into any of those products.
All right, Dr. Lee, thank you so much for all those tips and advice. You guys can head over to our website, firstcoastliving.net, and check them out again.